Hi and welcome everyone to today's webinar regarding the 23.1 update of IDEA StatiCa. My name is Simon, I work as account manager, and with me today I have Fredrik.
Hi. So yeah, like you said, version 23.1, the highlights. We're going to go through the steel, concrete, cloud and BIM. Here is the highlights in detail. So for steel, there are some new IFC export from connection. There's also a new rigid support and stages in member, fire resistance, weld design improvements. There's also shear force position visualization. That's much better. In concrete, there is new graphical user interface of the detail app, and yeah, some improvements in the RCS app as well. And in BIM, there's now a new Grasshopper plugin and also a developer documentation website, and parametric design is also improved. And in the cloud, I will show you also the new connection library. So let's look at what's new in steel. There's new ribbon layout, so it has been improved in 23.1. So they cleaned up the ribbon. It's more unified user experience, gives a cleaner look. And also the 3D scene control toolbar now has the universal symbols for navigating and changing the views. A lot of users ask me, can I transfer the connection to other software? So now it's possible. In the report tab, you can hit export to IFC, and this format, as you know, is recognized by most BIM software. So that's good. You can see it's possible to transfer to Tekla and the Autodesk Revit. So now there's auto design weld to full strength button. By right clicking on the operation, you can hit auto design weld to full strength. So basically it lets you optimize the weld size based on the welded plate strength. So then machine learning has been implemented for better determining the weld utilization. And the weld material is now an editable item in the material and product range library. This means you can define the welding electrodes independently of steel grade and connected plates. And also the warnings and visualizations of welds is also improved. Let's look at the auto design weld feature in version 23.1. So I have a connection here. It's I made the welds 1 millimeter. It's the minimum size. So I'm going to demonstrate. If you right click on the operations, you can find the auto design weld to full strength. So throat thickness of welds is automatically adjusted for their strength to be greater than yield strength. So I hit it, and you can see now that this one is 6 millimeters, this one is 4 millimeters, this one is 5 millimeters. So the program has automatically calculated the correct and best size for these welds. So let's look at the UTC. I will run the analysis so we can have a look at this UTC also, the new features. So here is the analysis results. We can see that the welds is okay, and I will open the results in the welds tab and find the most utilized weld. So in the results tab for welds, there are two utilization ratios listed. The UT shows the utilization value of the most stressed finite element of the weld, so the peak value, while the UTC shows the utilization of the whole weld. and gives you information about the remaining weld capacity. So it looks like the weld only has about 5% capacity remaining, but that's not true. We have to look at the UTC, and we see that it has about 48% remaining capacity. And this UTC calculation is based on learning from a vast number of welded connections, weld models, and various load scenarios. So the algorithm can accurately predict the remaining weld capacity. This functionality is the first successful use of AI and machine learning to determine the capacity of welds. So in short, it gives you more accurate results. Also, let's look at the electrode feature. So if we go to the Materials tab, we can now see that you can add new weld. So let's choose a material to start from. And now we can hit Edit. And then change it, the name, and then the properties for this weld. So let's choose a value. And now this new weld called My Electrode is stored in the library, and I can find it in the Design tab where the welds are. In the pull-down menu, I find my electrode. So that's now possible. Shear force position visualized. So an option for setting the shear force position in a connection has been implemented to ensure smoother modeling. On top of that, you can see the bending moment diagram due to unit shear force immediately. So it will make it easier for you to position the forces. So let's look at how it looks. I have a connection here. It's a simple connection, pinned, made. It's supposed to be only shear force. If you look at the load effects, you can see that there is 0 loads on this connection. But in the new version, you can now click on the member, switch to transparent view, and now you can see the effect. So the shear force induced by the moment, you can see it on the connection immediately. So it saves you some time. And in the forces in, you can of course change the bolts, but in this connection it won't work. You can also use the position and find the correct position, typing in the correct distance. But the new feature is connected member face, and you can now choose which member. So might help you to save some time. There's also some more warnings and info after the checks, the detailing check. So if everything is okay, it's represented by the green tick button or the check mark. This indicates that the model complies with all necessary matters according to the standard and the connection is designed safely. If you get an error, then it's represented by the red cross icon. So error alerts you to serious non-compliance with the requirements of the standard. And you have to pay attention to the sign of the corresponding component. If you get a warning, it's represented by the yellow triangle with an exclamation point icon. So a warning message provides you with recommendations, for example, based on practical experience. There's also info. It's represented by the blue info icon. And info message has an informative character about less common issues to check, for example, ductility. So that's nice. And Also, IDEA StatiCa connection can now recognize all steel filler or packing plates correctly, reducing the bolt strength accordingly. When a filler plate is designed in the bolt connection, the reduction factor beta P for the shear resistance check should be applied using a new algorithm for filler plate recognition. So if you check this box in the code setup called apply beta P influence in shear resistance of bolt, then the packing plate will be recognized. You don't need to make temperature calculations on your own anymore or rely on additional manual solutions such as spreadsheets. Using this new method, the temperature in each plate is calculated separately. So fire is assumed to impact the whole connection model and all its surfaces at once. So the temperature of bolts and welds are safely assumed to be the same as the hottest connected plate. We can have a look at this new feature. So here I have the connection. If I want to choose fire resistance, I have to go to the connection and now choose fire. I can switch between calculated and user set. I will add a new temperature to this connection. And as before, I could add a temperature, but I will not do that now. I have to choose all the items that will be analyzed. And now I can go to the settings. No, I will calculate it first and just see how it performs. So I see that the bolts are failing. So I'll go to the design, the fire design, and check out the fire curve. It was set to R90. It was supposed to be R60, so you can change that there. And we can go through the material degradation, fire protection, and we can put on fire protection with encasement. And you can also save this as a template if you like. So let's run the calculation again and see if everything is okay with the R60. Now it's okay. And we can go to the check tab and turn on the temperature. And we can see now the temperature of each plate and component in this connection. We could also review the plates in the results tab and see the temperature for each plate. So that's nice. There's also some improvements for member, so let's go through them. You now have the possibility to check the rigid support member, so this box in the connection, and a gray rectangle will show. That means it's a rigid support. So also related members are not needed anymore, and modeling time will be reduced, we hope. Also construction stages, so you have to put up in steps. So first step is preload, and then you can set up your load combinations after that. Also singularity detection, so it helps you to find the issues in member in the model faster. So it will give you a warning if you have singularity issues.
And as most of you know, IDEA StatiCa Steel is a great tool, but I also have the concrete part. If you missed it, please check it out. Fredrik will now show you the new features in IDEA StatiCa Concrete.
Absolutely. Let's see what's new in concrete. So in the detail app, there's a new graphical user interface. So it also has a new wizard. So the main scene for modeling is larger and brings more space for displaying. So the icons also got a facelift, and it's more similar to the steel application. So it will give a more unified layout. Let's have a look at it. This is the splash window for creating a new project in detail. So we can choose between different templates in the wizard. Let's just open a wall and look at it. So we can see that the menus quite similar to the steel application. Also the tabs and the operation and loads and reinforcements. It's very nice. And also the code setup we can find here. We can try to calculate this and see how it looks. Yeah, so here we see the summary of the results. Everything is looking okay for this one. Let's go to the check tab. And here also quite similar to the steel application. We can go through the results, look at the summary, the strength, the anchorage, the stress limitations, and the crack width, and so on. And you can choose between different types of results within this code check results. You can check out the concrete, the reinforcement, yeah. And if everything is okay with the detail, we can go into the report and generate the report. Yeah, and we can see how it looks. So it's a very nice report with all the information you need to have here.
Well, we got some questions regarding national annexes. Is it possible?
Yeah, well, you cannot choose the national annex in IDEA StatiCa detail or the steel, but you can input the factors that you need from your national annex in the code setup that I showed you recently. So it's quite simple.
Great.
Let's look at what's new in BIM and Cloud. So the BIM links for Axis VM7 and Robot Structural Analysis 2024 is updated. And now a plugin into IDEA StatiCa has been added to Rhino and Grasshopper, so it will make it easier to set up a process. For those of you that want to optimize the workflow, this is really great. Also, parametric design is improved. You can now have a developers tab in connection using these parameters. And then you can also change cross-section dimension, update member material sections, use math expressions, drive bolt layout inputs. So yeah, also a great improvement for those of you that want to put up a process to optimize the workflow. There's also set up a developer's documentation website on IDEA StatiCa website. So this is an extension of the GitHub forum for those of you that use that. And connection library is also out. It has been out for some weeks, but yeah, it is a collection of 400,000 connections and gives you a selection of possible solutions after you have entered the rough shape of your connections. So let me show you how it works. This is the website of IDEA StatiCa. So we go to Steel and the connection library. And you can read about how it works. And yeah, how it looks, we will see. So here we can input the rough shape of a connection with the members and the cross section. Then we can edit the geometry and change the cross section if we want. And then we can search in the database for similar connections and possible solutions. So here we got a selection for all the possible solutions in the database. We can also go back and edit the parameters. For instance, change to a I section or a rectangular hollow section. And then we get even more for this geometry. So it's now you can look at it, get the inspiration, and possibly later you can download it and edit it. So that's a great tool, and it will also save you some time, hopefully. There's also Campus. This is an online training tool for you to become an expert in IDEA StatiCa. It's for both steel and concrete. It's parted up into modules, and it's from beginners to advanced. So we can have a look at that as well. You can sign up on IDEA StatiCa website on support and learning. Go to e-learning and certification, and there you can see what's in the course. Here we have the steel, the essentials of steel connection design, advanced topics, and structural design of stability members. And then we have 2 different modules of concrete. And when you sign up, you have an account. You can go into Campus, and then you can go into one of the courses, depending on what you are interested in. So then you see the different topics in this training. So it's a collection of videos, PDFs, and articles. So here, for instance, we have the theoretical background that you can read through. And after that, there is a quiz with multiple choice. And if you pass this, you can apply for a certificate. So the training is free, and there is a small fee in the end if you want a certificate. So this is a very nice training for all users of IDEA StatiCa for steel and concrete. So check it out. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.